Hello and welcome to a kind of a special episode of the Honest Review series. It's actually quite a long time since I've actually done one of these videos. I've away from my own personal life. I've been doing bits and pieces in terms of work, etc. And I've never really had an opportunity to do one of these videos because there's nothing really been going on really within the whole gaming community and all that there. Nothing that I've really seen a lot of anyway. So by doing this video, you'll probably be thinking, well, why is it that I'm actually doing a video in relation to DSP, and particularly in Darkside Phil? Well, at one point, I was a fan of DSP. I think really my earliest memory of watching DSP, especially in terms of gameplay footage, was actually back in 2010. One of the very first videos that I actually watched was a playthrough of the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's multiplayer content, and it was just by complete random. But he was actually one of the very first YouTubers to actually put like hours of gameplay content relating to that specific multiplayer, because not a lot of other YouTubers were putting up that sort of content in relation to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's multiplayer at that particular time. So it was just by complete random luck that I just caught on to it and get me a wee glimpse or a wee bit of a taste really of what the multiplayer actually looked like playing yourself. So just by complete randomness, I got into it, watched it, and I thought, heck, this is actually not too bad. And the guy that I was actually thinking, this fella's actually interesting to listen to, especially in terms of his commentary, because he was playing with his friends at the time. Who was it? Or who was he? And I actually looked at the game, the YouTube channel and all that, and it was actually called DSP Gaming, aka Darkside Phil, or his real name is Phil Brunel. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of history about Phil and really particularly about his rise, and this video is more or less a sense of a flavour of I'm a little bit disappointed in a way that Phil, it's almost been just like a downfall for him really. The last time I've actually watched like a full walkthrough of any of his gameplay content, it's probably back around 2014, something like that, and that was when he did a playthrough of South Park Stick of Truth game. So yeah, we'll just go back, we'll just start a little bit at the beginning, and really, where did he get into this sort of scenario? So we're really talking about the rise, really when Phil was at his peak. Well, this is going all the way back really in 2009. When he actually had a job, he actually did have a job in real life over in Connecticut. He was living in a condo and all that there. And by around that time, we were in a bit of a financial difficulty. And in that financial difficulty, it was, the financial crisis, particularly everywhere, in the UK, America, etc. And Phil, unfortunately, was laid off. And he had like no second job, and the only thing that he was really doing at that time was more like a hobby to him, and that was gameplay footage, uploading gameplay videos up on YouTube. And it wasn't making a lot of money around that time, until when people started to get hold of him, when they actually found out, the gaming community found out that Phil actually was getting laid off, and a lot of people actually felt a bit of sympathy towards him, a bit of sadness. Nobody doesn't want to see like other people losing their jobs to no fault of their own, sadly. And a lot of people, I think, give him almost like an arm around their shoulders, but say, listen, if it'll make you any feel better, then we'll share the videos out, spread around the gaming community. And luckily for Phil, that's actually what happened. He was then getting hundreds of thousands of each of his videos in terms of viewers. Probably even one full playthrough, combined with all the videos added up, he was getting over 1 million views, which was unbelievable. A very good performance, especially back then around 2009, 2010. And then obviously Machinima got hold of him when he seen that, wow, Phil, you're actually creating a huge amount of views for just one small bit of content on a specific video. We would like to offer you a contract, which would actually be a job, an actual full-time job. All you have to do, basically, is just record all your gameplay footage and just upload it onto YouTube. What a bit of relief that would have been for Phil. And it actually gave him a new lease of life. He never would have thought from this here just turning into a hobby, now into a full-time job. He was in dreamland. And definitely that elevated him up. It gave him a new lease of life, a new lease of confidence within Phil. And especially around 2010, 2011, you've seen a DSP, you've seen a Darkside Phil, you've seen a Phil Brunel in the most happiest time of his life. And you can tell from his gameplay footage, particularly when he was doing gameplay walkthroughs with his friends, and particularly at that time was John Rambo and Harold. I'm actually going to show you just a wee piece of clip while narrating. This is a wee bit of a clip of a PS Move game, which was that Start the Party game, or it was in relation to that there at that time, and it was back 2010. And this specific clip I'm going to show you here is Phil when, if you never seen Phil at his most happiest time, when he was absolutely ecstatic, he was near going to lose his voice. He was near going to be in tears of just joy or in laughter. Then you gotta take a look at this clip here. It's absolutely hilarious.
Alright, you gotta eat flies, John. Look at the little frog on your hand. Pet the frog. Pet the frog. Hey, it's your go. Press the button. Oh, yeah. Kiss the frog. Maybe he'll take 12 minutes. Yeah. Alright, here we go.
From that moment on, for Phil, this was his rise. From 2010 to 2011, he was at a roll. Gameplay first was coming in, the money was actually going in very, very nicely. And he was actually making plans. He was actually saying that, maybe if I actually got a good bit of money set up, I might actually move out of Connecticut, which at that time he was actually living in a small wee condo, like very little room. It was getting a little bit claustrophobic. He wanted to leash out, move on to someplace else to get a new lease of, happiness and maybe even potential joy in his life. So then, obviously the money kept on raking in, on and on. And he was thinking by the end of 2011, he was thinking, well, I have to be a little bit more ambitious. I've got to try and elevate my profile to new heights. I have to spread out to different people who might not really know me yet within the YouTube community. So, with the help of his friends, again, John Rambo and Harold, and with a bit of from a video editing team called Respect the Pact, they actually created a web series called Project 7. And this was going to be a monthly released episode, probably anywhere between like 10 to 15 minutes long, something like that there, of the story of Phil, Phil being himself, saying that he's lost his gaming powers. And he has to try and find a way and actually get it back. And from that moment on, from when that first video of that first episode actually was released, this was released then at the start of 2012, I felt to myself personally, this was going to push Phil to more viewers, more subscribers, and with a better portfolio, it'll give him more of a better personality within the community. And he was actually picking up a lot of viewers viewers that actually go on to be big YouTubers themselves. One of which was actually PewDiePie. PewDiePie actually said many years ago, he actually said that the reason I actually got into YouTube was actually because of Phil's hilarious humour and personality. Each time he actually did a walkthrough or a let's play or whatever it was, he would call himself a DSP nowadays. So he was actually bringing up a lot of fans and a lot of famous fans as well, Phil. And then in 2012, he actually did this video on Valentine's Day, which would be the introduction of his girlfriend. She was called Liana, or gamer tag, or gamer user tag, should we say, was Panda Lee. And from first reactions was, well done, Phil. You know, it's nice to see you've got a new lease of happiness, a new lease of life. And hopefully, you know, maybe you'll sit down, have a family, have kids and all that, and you actually have a happy life. Unfortunately for Phil, I feel, and sad for Liana, and I think to many, many users, from that moment on, this would prove to be the downfall of DSP, sadly. Because whenever she got involved, the negativity started to really get involved surrounding, especially with Phil. When she was getting a little bit more involved with his gameplay walkthroughs, a lot of the viewers weren't very best pleased then. I think what really started it all off was actually Phil was supposed to do a gameplay video or walkthrough with, well, it was supposed to be apparently originally with John Rambo, but instead it was actually with Liana. I think it was some Mario game on the Nintendo Wii then, and a lot of people were alright with it, but they weren't very best pleased with it. They looked at her with her gameplay footage and so on and think, well, she's actually sounds a little bit annoying. I mean, you can't do anything about it with a person's voice, but maybe they were starting to get a little bit repetitive. Maybe they weren't very, very good at that particular game with herself, his or herself, you know, either Liana or Phil or whatever. But maybe it was the chemistry, you know, because it was strong. The chemistry between Phil and John Rambo, whenever they were doing their gameplay footage together, was very, very good. It was more of a comedy duo between themselves. And that's what people really, really enjoyed it. You know, these two friends laid back, enjoying themselves, you know, having a bit of a laugh and all that there. And it just wasn't there between Phil and Liana. And that then really started to rake up the negativity. But this is still in 2012. In terms of view base for Phil, he would probably would say, well, it was slightly lower than 2011, but it was still very, very good. So you still think that 2012 was still a very good, successful year for Phil. So we get into 2013. This is when the negativity was really starting to kick up then. He decided to change in terms of originally with his gameplay, his early gameplay footage, he was just taking footage directly off from the feed from his television straight into a camera and record it from there. Now everybody else was all going for this direct capture stuff, you know, it'd be better quality, better sound, picture quality, you know, etc, etc. So Phil decided to take the jump and go into it. Happy days, you know, fair play, you know, he's actually moving on with the times. But with Liana still getting heavily involved, she was starting to get heavily involved, should we say, in terms of the admin stuff. You know, getting a look at, you know, what people was commenting about Phil and all that there. Even it was just a little bit of negativity, just saying, I don't know, Phil, try this next time out. Oh, Phil, shoot that person first and then go through in the building. Liana was just blocking people left, right and centre over it. One tiny bit of negativity, they were getting blocked for it. And I think a lot of people, it was really starting to get annoying. And I think Phil was trying to address the situation where, you know, we don't want to block you, but, you know, anytime you do look like you're going to show a little bit of negativity, we are going to have to stop you or cut you off. Which I think that was annoying a lot of people. It was really starting people really to annoy them off. And then we got into more controversy, especially then we were going into 2014. But before we were going into 2014 even, should we say, what happened with Project 7 then? We were in the middle of 2013. What's going on? Are we getting on? You know, is Project 7 even going to be made? Because it was about a handful of episodes made. I'm pretty certain that we're not even halfway through the series yet. And nobody knows what the heck is going on. So Phil had to address the situation. Phil had to address the situation where they were saying, well, respect the pact. They've been having some personal problems behind the scenes. I think one of the people that was involved with respect the pact, they were becoming a dad, and don't really have enough time for video editing and all that there. And I think respect the pact were more than happy to let other video editing companies try and take over the reins per se and try and continue Project 7. But nobody didn't really want to take it up and continue it on. So Phil just said, oh, well, we're just going to put it to one side. It's currently on hiatus, but it will be back. So, promise me. So that's what Phil was bringing it up. So then we get to 2014. Big news. Very big news. Phil announced that he was actually going to move out of Connecticut and he was actually going to go to Seattle, Washington. Big news, you know. Bit of a relief. Happy days. He's actually moving on with his life. And I think this sparked a lot of annoyance. And I think this is when the cracks started to appear in terms of the friendship between Phil, John Rambo and Harold. The cracks were starting to appear, folks. And there's this one specific video, I don't know whereabouts this was, what year this was, but there's something in relation to at a gaming convention where I think Leanne, she was selling some stuff at the table, and I think her and Phil and John was joking around and all that there, and she mentions about something that, you know, each sale we make, we're getting a 50% sale stake in this here, and not you. Directly to John Rambo. And you can see from his video reaction, I've actually got a screenshot here, he's a bit taken back from it. He's almost shocked. He's like, excuse me? When did I almost mention anything about money? Money was never mentioned whatsoever. It was just a bit of friendly banter and all that there, but she took it very, very seriously. And I think this is when the cracks really were starting to appear. We didn't really see them from that as of such. But roll on 2014. Phil moves over to Seattle. We don't really hear enough from John Rambo and Harold at that time. And then, out of nowhere, this video comes up. I forget if this was back in 2014 or 2015. I think this is actually in relation to 2015, sorry. Back around 2015. And this video, it almost was like a mockery of Phil, because by that time he actually signed up to Patreon. And if you don't really know what Patreon is kind of like, you know, like a giving, like a donation sort of page for any users or, you know, anybody involved in YouTube, Twitch and so on. You know, if you give me that little bit of additional money, I'll try and do this here, improve my gaming content and all that. Basically, you're begging for money. And by the time, you know, when you join up with Patreon, you know things are not going well for yourself. And I think in terms of views, this was really starting to hit Phil, particularly around the negativity. Not with Liana annoying everybody, but I think there was a particular incident, this PC incident, where Phil publicly went out, named and shamed the person about his old PC. I think by the time he was over at Connecticut, and he named and shamed the person, and obviously the person wasn't very best pleased about it, and there was huge public backlash towards Phil. I think within the gaming community, they just looked at that and think, well, sorry Phil, but like, you use that PC 24/7, it's you really that's to blame, and not the user that made that PC. Of course, Phil, like, this is not the Phil Brunel, this is not the happy, smiley Phil Brunel that you would know of. This is the Phil Brunel now that was starting to get his ego was now very high. He was not going to take any feedback whatsoever from anybody. You had to believe in what Phil said because he was right and not you. And I think even even relation going back to the negativity, I should have really even mentioned this here back around 2012, 2013. A lot of people was actually making videos of him, actually, the gameplay footage of him actually specifically playing video games. And the titles of these videos were called "This is how you don't play a specific game," and one of which was Metal Gear Solid. And from this here, this started the backlash for Phil in terms of fans really starting to get at his back. And it was just Phil playing very, very bad at a video game. Literally being very, very bad. He was blaming the game at everything, Oh, the game didn't tell me that there. Oh, buggy mechanics. He was literally blaming everything left, right and centre. Instead of looking at that video, of that there video being put up, what Phil should have done was, fair play to that guy actually making that video, give this guy a shout. Instead of actually trying to put it into a positive mood, which I think actually could have gained him more viewers and subscribers, it made him look bad. Because he was naming and shaming that guy to everything. Criticising him for everything possible. Instead of trying to give that guy a bit of a thumbs up, he gave him a massive thumbs down. Big time. And again, the fans didn't like that there. They were saying, well, he spent all his hours doing that, and this is how you repay him. So no surprise, the fella made more and more "This is how you don't play" videos featuring DSP. And it gave him more and more backlash. So I should have probably mentioned that there previously, but I might as well give that a wee bit of a quick mention as well. But anyway, back to John and Harold. They did this video, a Patreon video, and the person they actually said who they were on the video was Phil. Now, I don't know, was that complete coincidence? They just thought of Phil's name out of up in the air, or was this a genuine attack towards Phil about him literally begging for money? Now, they came out and denied it, say, well, no, this is not an attack at Phil whatsoever. But Phil, being Phil, obviously went on to YouTube and said, well, how dare this specific person? I don't think they specifically named John Rambo and Harold of making that video, but he publicly once again named and shamed that person. So a lot of people was obviously questioning at the time, well, what is your friendship like with John Rambo and Harold, Phil? We've never really heard these guys anymore ever since you moved over to Washington. What is going on? And Phil was like, well, you just have to speak to John Rambo and Hall about that. So they actually went on, all the YouTube users went over to them and said, well, what is going on? Like, have you literally split it? Have you fallen out between one another? What is going on? So Rambo and Harold actually made a video, and this was going to get the elephant out of the room. They had to come out and say, well, what is this all about? Why is there now all of a sudden a bit of bad blood, a bit of tension between yourself and Phil? So literally, they cut it really, really short. They didn't like some of the things that Phil obviously said. They didn't like some of the things, particularly in relation to Project 7 of where the series was specifically going. They literally said that Phil wanted this, he wanted that. He was a bit of a control freak almost, and especially in terms of money. Any sort of profit in relation to Project 7, whether it was selling T-shirts, merchandise, or whatever, etc., etc. All the money was actually going back to Phil and Phil only, not to John Rambo. I think John was given a little bit of money back in terms of public transport, fuel for his car, travelling and all that there over to Phil's place over in Connecticut. But aside from that, Harold was not getting any money. Respect the Pact wasn't getting any money at all, which was unbelievable. And they just said, well, we just want to wish Phil all the very, very best. But it just came at a very, very sad end. So it was sad to hear that. Best friends, lifetime friends at one point, and it's just gone away altogether, sadly. And from that moment on, it hasn't stopped for Phil. He's got involved in big major events or stupid moments or dangerous moments, all wrapped up into one. And still tying in with 2015, he was actually swatted, which armed police actually came to his house because they believed that there was a suspect thinking of doing something really, really bad. And the prank caller he targeted was towards Phil. And I'm actually going to show you the clip right now of that moment when it specifically happened.
Uh-oh. Hold on, everyone. I think I might have some cops outside. Hold on. You heard that, honey? Honey? Cops outside. Yep. The cops are outside. We're coming. Come outside with your hands up. Come on, honey. Someone called the cops. It's alright. We're coming. We're fine. They already know what's going on.
So yeah, talk about a bummer, huh? Amazingly enough, Phil actually did a video about it. And I feel a lot of people actually felt really, really bad for Phil. Nobody doesn't want to get swatted. Nobody doesn't want to get that house being raided by the police. And a lot of people said, Phil, it was going to potentially happen. You've said some stuff in the past which has annoyed a lot of people, and this was kind of their payback. And they may never ever. I don't think they've ever traced that caller back. Because that fella could have made a phone call in the middle of the woods, or he could have picked up a dead or a rubber phone and could have just chucked it into the river, and you may never trace the call back again. So, and that's obviously just an example or what if, but it's really, really sad. Really sad. For Phil at that point, I think his confidence was absolutely shot, and he didn't really know who to trust now, because his friends were dwindling. I don't think he really has a lot of friends in real life, and he knows real life. I think he's probably made more friends really over the internet, which is really, really sad. To make virtual friends is not really good in terms of your social life. I mean, Phil is probably now at this point literally playing video games 24/7. He's not really even, say, out of the house. So for 2015, you thought, well, things cannot possibly get any worse. Wrong. Wrong. He was actually caught on camera, live stream. How do I put this in the kindest of ways? Playing about with his parts downstairs. Yep, he was caught. Not only that, it's very, very disgusting to do, but to stream that live on the internet, on YouTube, oh dear. Oh dear, 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 Phil. What a stupid fella. How could you not have possibly known that the camera and the live streaming was all set up, it was all live and recorded to the internet, and you didn't see that? And amazingly enough, he actually joked about it. I think he actually did a video the following day, just to say, listen, I was a stupid idiot, I shouldn't have done that. And he actually got a little bit of publicity for it, in the right way, for a change. But sadly, that was the only real sort of highlight moment ever since that particular moment happened. And from there on in, it's been quite a lot of down moments. Like I said, I've rarely watched any of his gameplay footage now. I've got my own life. I do my own bits and pieces and so on. So sadly for Phil, it's just gone horribly wrong for him. Oh, I should also mention as well that at the start of this year, Phil actually, Machinima let him go. They actually made him redundant because of his low viewers. And now he's literally hanging on for dear life just on Patreon. If Patreon wasn't still about, he'd have been long gone at this stage. Patreon's the only thing that's keeping him going as of right now in terms of just money on a monthly basis. And whatever viewership that he could actually make, it's just poor. Absolutely poor. To think that this guy, just a few years ago, was making hundreds of thousands of viewers on each of his videos. Now he's rarely making even 10,000 viewers on his videos. Let alone 20,000, 30,000. It's so low, and it's so sad for him. I cannot believe a Phil would just go down this low, His friends have been gone. No Project 7. Project 7 now ceases to exist. That is not in the pipeline anymore. He just simply does not have the money. He probably doesn't even have the friends to do that now. Oh, and with Liana, I believe at the start of this year, them two actually got engaged. But for some reason, Phil and Liana started to break up. Now this literally has just happened. This is the newest incident involving the ESP. And the controversy surrounding that was because just back at the start of June 2017, something like that, there, Liana was actually in the hospital she was suffering from a heart attack, apparently. And Phil, being Phil, decided to blabber it all over the internet relating to Liana's health condition. And a lot of people was like, what? You literally revealed details about your fiance in hospital? And a lot of people was like, oh, Phil, you're low, but this is an all-time low. You should never have done that. Should never ever done that. And I don't think she did it without Liana's consent either. I think she was very, very upset when she found out that her partner blabbered it, went on to and literally yapped about it on the internet once again. How could you continue from a relationship? It's all about trust, isn't it? Between your boyfriend and or your girlfriend, whatever. And if you don't have that trust, why stay together? And I think Liana faced that question upon herself, and she decided to leave Phil. Now, apparently, the rumours going around was that Liana was playing about with Phil. Apparently, she was cheating on Phil, etc. Like, you don't know what the internet could obviously come up nowadays, but that's the rumours of the reason why Liana has left Phil. But I think there's definitely something more to it, and I never thought I'd say this, but fair play to Liana. Like, if you're not pleased over something, and if you believe that the relationship between yourselves wasn't going anywhere, then it's time to move on. And of course, Phil confessed about the breakup once again on Twitter. He made this big, massive excuse up on Twitter, etc. And without Liana to back that up, I mean, she literally can't back that up, because the moment she left Phil, she actually deleted her Twitter account, and I think she actually also had an Instagram account as well, and she's deleted both of them. So she's obviously gone into complete hiatus. She doesn't want to hear from the internet. She doesn't want to hear from the community, from the YouTube community or social media whatsoever. She just wants to leave that all in the past and almost try and move on with her life. And that's really, really sad. We may never ever know now what will happen to Liana. She could just literally disappear from the face of the earth, and we'll never hear from him again. It'll just be Phil, just being Phil, sadly. And he's literally back down to square one. Virtually made redundant. Now he's actually made more enemies rather than friends. His views are very low. And I cannot see where Phil will go now at this stage. I wouldn't be at all surprised, maybe in another 3 years time, Phil might actually call it a day and just say, well, it's not working out for me. I'll move on, maybe go back, maybe actually get a proper job. Whether it be a part-time job, full-time job, who knows. But changes need to happen to Phil. And if he's so stubborn he cannot even see that changes need to happen, then he is an idiot for not looking at the bigger picture. If he genuinely believes that if he genuinely absolutely believes that he's okay for the time being, he's wrong. Big time. He's almost in a state of denial. He doesn't want the bad things to happen, but it could potentially happen unless he doesn't change his ways. And that is my my view would be is that I think first of all he needs to come out in the air. Phil needs to come out and publicly apologise for everything that he has done in the past. Whether he made any racist comments to any person whatsoever, to any of his fan base, he must apologise for the people that tried to help him out in life, and that's probably especially towards John Rambo and Harold. Basically said, listen, sorry guys, I'm sorry for what I did to you. I was a stupid idiot. I want to try and extend a hand of friendship. I could try and build upon this from it. This is what he needs to do. He needs to start going back to basics. Again, Phil. And if he needs to go and take a hiatus, take a break off for a few months, and just in trying to enjoy life for the first time in a long time, so be it. At least I want to see a happy Phil. I don't want to see a very angry and a very upset Phil. I may never watch his content ever again, but I want to see Phil. I think for a lot of people, they want to see the old Phil back. I think many people have said that before. You were former fans of his on YouTube, watching his gameplay content. They want to see the happier, more comedian style the Phil. I don't think we'll ever see that again, sadly. But it's almost for him, sadly, the downfall has not only happened, but it could literally collapse any day. He could literally say any second day now, making a video and say, listen, I'm done. And that's it. You'll never hear from Phil ever again. Which is kind of sad, but it's a fact of life, sadly. So that's it. That's my special video in regards to relation to DSP. And I'm not too sure will he ever listen to this video or not. I'm pretty sure certainly he's heard a lot of negativity before in the past and so on. But I hope this little light or this view of mine that I've done is, Phil, I was a fan of yours in terms of your gameplay content, but now you've kind of reached, to me, you've reached the beyond of no return, or the point of no return. I hope you can reach the light one day and actually face up to your demons, face up to the fans who supported you for so many years, and for most of that time you almost treated them like crap. But I hope you actually face that light where you forgive yourself and you publicly apologise to the people and to everybody that you've fooled around with for so many years. Alright, so that's the end of it, and I'll hear from you later. Peace out.